pronounce the erroneous. Yes, we are in the building. We are in the building. Yes.
Sons of light, bro. I feel like today's been such a epic day, bro.
All right.
This week's been such an epic week.
Yes, it has been.
You know, like this info, the way it's coming. You know, this conversation. Most High.
Yes.
Shabbat Shalom.
About to go live on Instagram. Just getting our Instagram together. Because, see, we got a post here, which was Truth Trap, but on our live, so you can't go live until you clear that. And just keep on not letting me do that. It's supposed to. I'm trying to delete this post.
Yeah.
So we can go live on Instagram, but as long as this Truth Trap is up, it won't let me go live from the Hebrew State of Being because it's supposedly my story for the night. So, gonna have to probably go to another one.
Yeah. I got this song on my mind.
Yeah. So we're gonna go a little few minutes late on the Hebrew
Instagram.
State of Being. All right. Welcome to the Hebrew State of Being. We are your humble servants and hosts for the night. I am Kyle.
And I am Oba.
I see we got a lot of people tonight. Hey, Catrice. Oh, good seeing you. To my sister Tamara in the building. Yuan, my brother Sharonda.
See, what's up?
Cuz Eric B in the
Yuan,
building.
what's up?
Yes,
Eric
man.
B, what's up?
What's up? I see. Yeah, so we got a great crew already, you know what I'm saying?
Great night.
But no, they do not have an option for live when you post the story in the. When you post a story in Instagram, as your whatchamacallit, it does not allow you to. Now it just froze on up. Gotta love that Instagram. This technology is special. But we're about to start it off tonight with not me and the Most High. Actually, so all right, there we go.
Hit it.
There we go. So you know how we do for Shabbat. We start off with the shofar.
Yeah.
So Shabbat Shalom, all of Israel. All right. That is the sound of victory from the shofar.
Yes.
That is our. That is when we blow the ram's horn to gather Israel for either war or for
Community.
peace or for victory.
Yeah.
So all of the above, right? So tonight it is Shabbat. It is rest, reflection, meditation. It is keeping your mind on the Most High, right? So, for many of us that's not familiar, that Shabbat has rules. Shabbat is our fourth commandment, right? So, like, right out the gate, he's saying what he wants you to do,
Yes, number 4.
right? So I'm really trying to,
Ain't even get to 5 yet.
yeah, I'm really trying to get this. There we go.
I'm crying. I can't.
There we go. We're gonna go live from this one. We got to tell as many people as we can this information. So I do not like to start and really get into things until I am able to really get all of the medias going, so we can make sure we have
All cylinders.
all cylinders going, like Big Chief Montana, the Yellow Pocahontas say. All 8 cylinders got to be going.
This is a ginger
Hey,
tea.
Trip, Shalom, Monique, how y'all doing? We got a great show tonight. It's a conversation about America. Everybody has a lot of concepts of what America is and what Africa is and how they play a part, in all that we do. From us being African Americans to having a belief that it's the motherland, and what actually does that mean, motherland? What does it? I know you may think you know what motherland means, but you may not. Because mother and fatherland, what is the difference between, you come from both, right? What is fatherland? What is the motherland? What would you say to that, right? Would you now put in gender and say, oh, fatherland is supposed to be better or more of an origin than motherland, or motherland is no, it's where the womb, everything is birthed out of? Schematics, man. That's not what we're really here for. Just here to give some information so that you can have a different perspective. Add it to what you already know. Eat the fish, and spit out the bones. It's that. So like I said, we're not trying to convert anyone tonight. But we want to definitely show you the options that are available for you. The truth. Because it's a lot of things that's not the truth. A lot of things that are false. Just to give you guys a short thing before we go into our reading of the Wisdom of Solomon, and then we're going to go into our conversation of America. And in that, it's touchy.
It sure is.
It's touchy, and it's Shabbat. Hey, Kiara, I'm glad you're in the building. Who else we got? Yes, can't see all of our names. We got the way we have the camera set up. But look, the concept of what is first and where we come from and who we are as a people is pivotal. It may seem to be a very small thing, but it's pivotal to what direction you go in when you have this information. That information becomes the basis of many of very important decisions you make. How you raise your child, your belief system, your spirituality, all kind of falls into that little bitty thing of, where did I originate from? Who am I? Or who are my people? Where did I come from? Even if I choose not to be from what I come from, you can have somebody that was always, their family were sheep herders, and that guy decides he wants to be an engineer. And that's not a problem. Doesn't stop you from knowing where your people were sheep herders. And now you have a way of going back to your lineage of where you started and where your family, so forth. So it's important to know who you are. So being in America, North America, in the last 300 years of the European settlement of this continent and these islands of Americas, we have gone through a school system and education. One could call it indoctrination instead of education. One can call it institutionalization. We can use many words, you know, many colorful words we'll read in Wisdom of Solomon. So our belief systems are many times set upon the things that we decided to accept that Europeans have given us, and then done a little bit of research or had a conversation with someone in reference to the parts of the European information you received that you connected to, that your spirit seemed to say, yeah, that part I can go with, because you're going with your intuition at the end of the day, which, if we want to break down intuition, it's your spirit telling you, controlling your senses, of your smelling, your hearing, your seeing, your tasting, it's your instincts, it's your spirit, it's your, so what things that your spirit connects to, you then go and have conversations, maybe read a little book here or there, maybe read a little information here or there, and then you formulate what you feel is best for you. Some Hebrews, like my sister Tamara, they've, given up on all of that, and they are strictly scripture. If it ain't the book, if it ain't scripture, it's just lip, right? You know what I'm saying? So we all have to have some basis in which we receive information. And that basis is your intuition and the belief that your intuition has gathered.
Yes.
Pretty much what it comes down to. So, I got a big old piece of ginger. So that's sensitive to anybody. For you to tell me something that I believe deep down here that I know is incorrect, or I've been duped, so to speak, or even I've been telling other people this information and been a champion for this other information, that you're not telling me that that's, I've been lied to and that I've been giving this information to others as a lie. Well, we both have gone through that several times. It's a thousand death type thing, but in those thousand deaths, it's 1,000 rebirths of understanding, of knowledge and wisdom.
It's true.
With every death of the knowledge that you believe to be true becomes a rebirth of knowledge and understanding of truth. So America has been given to us through an education system of our oppressors and colonialists, right? More importantly, the Spanish and the Roman Catholic, to be more specific, right? The Roman Empire. Spain conquered much of the Americas because it was so close, right? It was so easy to get to. Then they were kicking it with the Moors, the Islamics, and the other Moors, and they already were coming back and forth, because this new world is not really the new world. See, even in our scriptures, we give the banner to the Eastern Hemisphere, the Middle East, Jerusalem, as the old world. So therefore, Christopher Columbus, discovering these lands that already was populated and had kingdoms already, his discovery marked it being a new world for the European Empire.
Thank you for making that clarity.
Yeah,
That's huge.
The European Empire.
Yeah.
It
wasn't the new world.
Right.
It was new to them.
It was new to them.
That's like, I see you walking down the street. I like your sneakers. They new to me.
What size you wear? I can tell you. Don't even tell me.
Not that I would do that. Let's clear that up, guys. Just an example.
We in New Orleans know that one in the French quarters, right? I can tell you where you got your shoes from.
You know how that goes.
But then it's they from. They use the jargon, you know, the flim flam of the words. They say, "I know you got your shoes at," and the person, the tourist, says, "Well, you know where I got my shoes from." Well, they in turn interpreted us saying where your shoes at, meaning the word "at" means from. So when the con artist says you got them on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, right? Then he's accurate in that because your shoes, where your shoes are at presently, is in or on the French Quarter on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. I can't tell you how many con artists in the French Quarter make money off of that one little scam. Boy, they catch them a Kentucky or Iowa coming through. Woo!
It's bad, y'all. It's bad.
So, in that little small example of how words can change, one word can change the entire context of the sentence, paragraph, chapter. One word. So when we speak as Hebrews and it says to study to show thyself approved, it's to get to the point of first being able to digest the information,
Yes.
then dissect the information, then find the next level of it by finding the words that were original before the translation, then finding the Hebrew word and finding the number associated to that word, because in the Hebrew language every letter has a numeric value,
Sure does.
which then in turns gives you an entire different language or different meaning than the word itself.
Yes, indeed.
This is examples of not just taking things for surface. I read it, I got it, in this immediate gratification of the world. Shabbat is about meditating. That's why it is said in scripture to meditate upon his word, so that the Ruach HaKodesh can give you wisdom through understanding of the word. And what does the word? The word is his higher light, his only begotten son, manifesting itself through the word, which is the salvation through what he left us when he was sacrificed. And that was the Ruach HaKodesh. And through the Ruach HaKodesh, through understanding and wisdom, we are given salvation. See how that all goes down? Everything got layers to it. That's why the thing called etymology. All right? So we're about to read the wisdom of Solomon, because this chapter 15 is going to set up for this information that we're about to give you. We all are familiar with Darwin, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, most people, but not everybody, maybe.
You want to tell them what Darwin was into?
Evolution.
Oh, so something like the scientific method,
Yeah.
because it was like they had to prove where life came from.
Deduce. Yes.
They had to deduce
You know what I mean?
from what they could.
Yeah, scientific method,
Yeah.
Sir Francis Bacon. Yeah.
See, Darwin said that we evolved from apes.
A monkey.
Well, hold on. Not all of us came from apes.
Monkeys are smart.
Y'all came from apes. The
Yeah,
ones with
smart,
with the
right.
color came from apes. They came from Neanderthals, which were a smarter breed. That's Darwinism. Darwinism has influenced so many isms. The belief, the small belief that humans, and that would be us, humans, beings of hue, That's what humans is. Human being is beings of hue. Hue means color. Now, we talked a couple of weeks ago and explained the difference from the Denisovians and the Neanderthals and the humans. These are the three species that was here before the flood. Neanderthal, the Denisovians, this is all the ancients and humans. All the ancient finds that they have found, these are the three species. So Darwin decided to say that the humans came from apes in Africa, and that they came from Neanderthals, and the Asians came from the Denisovians.
Bag of tricks.
Everybody came from some humanoid thing except for us. We came from apes because they needed that to push the fact that they were smarter than us and that we were not intellectually capable of being full humans.
Even though they went to God as to build all of their empires.
Yeah, yeah. We built all the empires, but under Darwinism, they were able to extract the 3/4 of a man.
Merci Blanc.
That's where they got 3/4 of a man. That's where they were able in Congress to state that you were not fully a human being because of Darwinism, that you came from an ape.
Uncool.
Now, these are the same people that tells you that Africa is the motherland in which you came from. It said you came from Africa and an ape. See, a lot of us just cut off the part, we just say we're from Africa. If you are going with the African theme that you came from there, regardless of all the scientists that found Eve and these bones. I hear y'all screaming over there. No, they had bones of Eve, and that wasn't a monkey. That don't have nothing to do with Darwinism. Well, see, as that may be true, that is not how society is set up. Yes, it is true. They have found these people to be older, and it goes against the Darwinism belief system altogether. But has that stopped them from saying that you are inferior education-wise? No. Has it stopped them from your school systems being the way that it is? Have they stopped it from the redlining and loans and resources?
Not to my knowledge.
So, as intelligent and as smart as you are to know that every man came from Africa and that they found a woman's bone, what has that changed in society and how they deal with you? See, society is going off of Sir Francis Bacon and Darwinism. That's what it is. We're going to show you one of the gentlemen that was at the same time Darwinism that totally went against him. Taught at Harvard, wrote a book about it.
Like, here you go.
Yeah, he got so upset with Darwin. I want to mispronounce his name. Charlie boy. He wrote a book about it. You don't ever hear about the guy in the book because it goes against the
not everybody in the world was about that Darwinism, just the people that wanted to control the world.
Funny how they all
in cahoots.
Yeah. See how they get together like that.
Yeah.
And then because what's one of our favorite guys to talk about, the father, the Jewish father.
Melville Hertzkovich. Melville Hertzkovich.
Because he comes from Darwinism. See, when they went with Darwin, you have people that have studied under him, and then now they want to take his concept and make it work to explain the rest of the world. So his teacher, his man, Darwinism, the concept that he took from Darwinism, from Charlie Boy, he then said, well, if all black people came from Africa and came from monkeys, then I need to go and study the Africans over there and say that and find what these people in America do that's like them so I can prove to them that they are them. That's
the okie doke.
That's how it happened. And as we showed the last night, he used the tribe of Maasai.
That's a warrior tribe.
That's a warrior tribe. And our brother, Big Chief Shaka Zulu of the Golden Feather Hunters, just came from the tribe of Maasai, and he just sold on his suit for this past carnival. And they, because they're untainted. If you don't know about the tribe of Maasai, see, the tribe of Maasai has not had the influence of Europeans except for the AIDS. Yeah, they slid that part on in there.
Yeah.
See, they grouped them, because of Melville Horowitz, they grouped the Maasai and started shifting them in all little small places, little reservations.
Projects.
Little
Reservations and projects, you know.
So I say all that just to say that they have not been infiltrated. They are not Europeanized. Their history is not the history we know. They have their own history. And they don't say that we came from them.
Melville does.
Did y'all get that?
Melville, whose family came from Europe, Eastern Europe.
Tell them again.
And he was the first generation in this country.
First generation.
And he's European Jew who's considered the father of African American studies.
He studied the tribe of Maasai. How do we know he studied the tribe of Maasai and created all this information? Because he wrote books. Yeah. He got paid in Africa.
He went to Haiti too. He did it to all of us guys. He went to Haiti. He stayed for 3 months and wrote the book about voodoo that everybody's still reading and learning.
To this day. His beliefs.
He convinced the governments in Africa that the Maasai tribe is so dangerous and that they're tearing up the land. These people live off of the land. They don't tear up the land.
And so they believed it in Africa and followed suit. And then America followed suit in his thought process too, that we were this. Isn't that what the image that we have of Africans, of black people in America? That we're violent, that we're leeches, that we suck up the land. And we had to be put in projects when New Orleans just tore down their projects. America just tore down their projects in the last 10 years, right? So the same thesis and same story and same government structure that he wrote for Africa, they applied here from the same guy. And in Haiti, same guy.
South America too.
And this guy said that the tribe of Maasai, he used them as his case study to prove that we were from Africa. And Shaka Zulu this year just came from there with that tribe that has not been infiltrated by European history. Says that we didn't come from there. That they love our style of beading, but it's not their style. That they do bead, but it's not theirs. That it's our own.
What?
Our own?
I mean, original? Like aboriginal? Is there another word that we can use for aboriginal? There's a new word.
There's a new word.
Right? No, we're going to pull out some new words.
We're going to pull out some more. I would like to say
wisdom.
I can spell it.
Get some wisdom.
But
got some tough words, y'all.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to get into after we read that. We're going to prove everything that we're saying to you right now with a book, with an author, with resources, and yeah. So, buckle up, man. It's going to be a great one, man. So, chapter 15, Wisdom of Solomon, to put us in the proper mindset for the information that we're about to learn about America. It says, "But thou, O Most High, art gracious and true, long-suffering, and in mercy ordering all things. For if we sin, we are we are thine, knowing thy power, but we will not sin, knowing that we are counted thine. For to know thee is perfect righteousness. Yea, to know thy power is the root of immortality." To know thy power is the root of immortality. For neither did the mischievous inventions of men deceive us, nor an image spotted with diverse colors, the painter's fruitless labor. We say diverse colors. It's to mystify you. It's the words. It's the knowledge. It's the fact that the Most High says that the four corners of the earth, which means that four corners can't possibly be a globe, but yet America and the world believes, because of Copernicus, that it's a globe. And the world, because the Jesuit priests paid Copernicus to create the globe concept, universities, courses, degrees, masters have been gotten or obtained off of this false information.
People are proud of this. They're
Proud
going
of
to
this.
preach this gospel.
Proud of this.
They got a PhD.
So it says, the sight whereof incited fools to lust after it, and so they desire the form of a dead image that hath no breath. Both they that make them, they that desire them, and they that worship them are lovers of evil things, and are worthy to have such things to thrust upon them. I mean, that's you, karma, right? For the potter, tempering soft earth, fashioningeth every vessel with much labor, for our service, yea, of the same clay, he maketh both the vessels that serve for clean use, and likewise also all such as serve to the contrary. Meaning that the Most High, as the potter, makes good and evil to work as he chooses. But what is the use of either sort? The potter himself is the judge, and employing his labor lewdly, he maketh a vain god of the same clay, even he which a little before was made of earth himself, and within a little while after returneth to the same, out of the which he was taken, when his life which was lent him shall be demanded. So it's saying you make these images to worship when yet you were just made from dirt and soon to return to it. So how vain are your efforts in worshiping these false idols? Notwithstanding, his care is not that he shall have much labor, nor that his life is short, but striveth to excel goldsmiths and silversmiths, and endeavoreth to do like the workers in brass, and count it as his glory to make counterfeit things. His heart is ashes, his hope is more vile than earth, and his life of less value than clay. For as much as he as he knew not his maker, and him that inspired him in active soul, and breathed in a living spirit, but they counted our life as a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. Like the only reason to be on this earth is to gain. For say they, we must be getting every way through every way be by evil means. So he's saying that we got to get it anyway through evil means or not. You want to take 13 on, my brother?
Yes. For this man that of earthly matter maketh brittle vessels and graven images, knoweth himself to offend above all others. And all the enemies of thy people that hold them in subjugation are most foolish, and are more miserable than very babes. For they counted all the idols of the heathen to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor noses to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle. And as for their feet, they are slow to go.
Well, hold right there, my brother. I just had a conversation with a brother today, and he expressed to me that Jesus has he's got many blessings, and many people feel as though that they've gotten many blessings praying to Jesus or to Allah or to or whatever, and
Subject. It's a slippery slope.
it's a real slippery slope, but that's what we here for.
You're dealing with PTSD, man.
Yeah, post traumatic. Yeah.
Teaching disorder.
No, yes, it is. Everybody got trauma from bad teachings. You know what I'm saying? We got this.
You got PTTD, baby.
It's how do you explain that grace and mercy is what you've been receiving? How do you explain if someone doesn't read that we will put to sleep for this 400 years? And that meaning is that you may have fallen into false idols. How do you explain that our people as Hebrews or people on this world, well, we're speaking more about Hebrews right now, have always followed false idols from the beginning? Moses, after being taken out of Egypt.
I was just talking to somebody about that.
Right. They burned all their gold down because he was up for 40 days.
Yeah.
No patience, immediate gratification.
You go up there, Moses. We gonna be down there.
And it's not like they didn't see the mountain burning, right?
But then again, if you think about it, when I was talking to somebody about this, I was like, but think about it. These people just left captivity. They had a slave mentality. All they was doing was things in Egypt the way it's done in Egypt. So that's really
And
what
they got
their
blessings
go-to
then.
is, So they're like, well, Moses ain't here to give us that real. I might as well.
Because when I was back in Egypt, I needed rent one time and I prayed to the fat Buddha thing and I got rent. I can't
Even though I was in bondage.
Right. Even though I was in the middle of bondage.
I'm not gonna connect those two. Me praying to that thing and the idol and bondage. We're not
gonna connect the fact that we may possibly, because the devil is gonna feed you. The devil's gonna feed you. You act as though the devil can't feed you.
Slop.
And if you ain't never had a Ritz cracker, them little square crackers, when you starving, is real good. Okay? It is a gourmet meal. So what you're receiving via riches, which we just read here, which is not the gain of man on this earth, but yet we are set in this hamster wheel, believing that we have to do all things for the money. As it said here, we'll do all these things to get it. Following that system, following that hamster wheel, following that false idol. The devil will give you things to keep you coming. I'm gonna give it to you quick, and we're gonna go back. And because I'm a man, it's the only reason why I'm using this male-female aspect. All right, I better I'll make it a child, a father and his child. All right, the father is trying to get the child to stop sticking the wall socket in his mouth, right? The plug into his mouth.
I got a nephew like that. This is a real thing in my family. We all do this.
Right. Trying to get him to stop sticking the plug into his mouth. So the daddy starts to give him all of these different things, incentives to continue to do the right thing. And every time you put some hot sauce on the plug, or you try and sprinkle some cayenne pepper on it or whatever, right? And to deter you from it. So the devil wants you on his side. He wants you in the false idol. So when you ask, well, I've been getting this and I've been getting that, you may have to ask yourself, who gave me that to stay in that. Because right now it seems like you're bound to it. You're bound to a graven image. Because regardless if you don't believe in the graven image and you just saying that you believe in Jesus, or you don't believe in a rock and that you just believe in Allah, well, the Most High doesn't believe in mascots either. So even if Allah is not the rock, he would not be okay with the rock even being a representation. And the same for Jesus. You can't get around the fact that's the second or third commandment, no graven images. If you say that you believe in this Jesus or this spiritual entity that makes you a Christian, you're directly contradicting that by saying those names, because those names represent that image, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. So we're saying no false idols, and that yes, you can get blessings from the devil. If the devil can offer Yahweh, the higher light, at the end of his fasting, if he could offer him the world, the four corners of the earth, you don't think he can get you on stage and get you some shekels? You don't think that he could make one of his people at the job give you a promotion so that you can continue to be in iniquity?
Why not?
Do you think that they say, the Most High said, to be in a sober mind? So you at your business meeting with your boss trying to get a promotion, and you're drinking to the point of, so your promotion comes out of doing something that's not righteous.
Just a drink though, bro.
Just a drink though.
Man.
But you know,
Right.
I'm not trying to be too heavy. I just want us to really understand the wisdom of Solomon and what he's saying at this point, that you know, the last four, they counted all the idols of the heathen to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor nose to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle. And as for their feet, they are slow not to go.
Idols can't do nothing, pretty much, for anybody.
Right.
That's what you got them for. They can't see nothing, they can't hear nothing, they can't breathe, and they ain't moving nowhere.
And your Catholic, your Baptist priest, and they stand up there and say that Jesus is the living, but you got a dead image of him.
That was created.
That was created. You saying that he's the living.
Oh, you mean like how they worshiping the dead? Like him
Yes.
being dead and all that?
Yes. How do you worship the crucifixion and not the Ten Commandments? How is his death the cornerstone and not the life of the words, not salvation? How? Go on and read, my brother. 16, verse 16, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15.
For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a God like unto himself. For being mortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands. For he himself is better than the things which he worshipped, whereas he lived once, but they never. Yea, they worship those beasts also that are most hateful. For being compared together, some are worse than others. Neither are they beautiful, so much as to be desired in respect of beasts. But they went without the praise of the Most High and his blessing.
And his blessing. My sister can give me a script while I go to this next part. Tomorrow, if you can find me a script right quick on a devouring, on the Most High devouring the land, or the devouring the land in his anger, right? So that was Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15. Clearly, is speaking on false idols. Laying on the rock, yes. So what we're saying is that, no false idol, any belief system that has you look to an image is an erroneous system. It's an error. Its belief system, its foundation, its doctrine is wrong. Period. No mascots.
Sorry.
No mascots. Right. So, and the reason why we're saying that is, and we're drawing this line to specifically to Christian church or the Catholic Church, is because the Catholic Church is the biggest pusher, the Roman Empire of the Africa, flat Earth. I mean the globe. The Africa being the old world, and that everything coming from them, from the Mesopotamia. That's what they say is the cradle of civilization, right? Where they try to make it as close as they could to Europe as the cradle of civilization, right? They talk about the migration patterns, and everything is about the East. Not realizing, as we just told you guys a couple of weeks ago, that corn came from America. It's indigenous to Americas.
Yes.
It is the foundation of the Asian and African culture.
Cornerstone.
Their gods are named after everything that relates to the Americas. Is that a coincidence that everything in Africa, its belief system runs back to American?
Sure does.
I know you may not understand exactly where we're coming from with this, but we're gonna play this to understand what was America for real. Because before the Eastern Hemisphere and before the all of us Hebrews, we know about from Timbuktu, right? From Babylon to Timbuktu. We all know about Ivan Van Sertima. We're all familiar with before Columbus. We're all familiar with ancient America, or John Ogilvy, America. But this is going to give us a different perspective from Thomas Jefferson's perspective, right? Who was our past president, right? This is going to give you the thought and mindset of the people that understood who we were here prior to. So, without further ado, we're going to be playing this clip from our brother Ahayu Kurumio. Is Kurimeo, and his last name is Ahau. So this is we're gonna go in the middle of the clip. Let me switch up. This is gonna go in the middle of the clip. We're only gonna play about 4 minutes of this, and then we're gonna go to directly into New Orleans as well.
And this basically takes them out of our textbooks.
Louis.
Have you ever heard of Louis Agassiz? Have you ever heard of Louis Agassiz? Because as you can see here, let me just zoom in a little bit, right? This is Louis Agassiz, again, Geological Sketches, 1866, this version of it. And we're gonna go right to, basically, it's right in the beginning almost. And it says here, contents, page 1, volume 1, America the Old World. America the Old World. Again, firstborn among the continents. Firstborn among the continents. Though so much later in culture and civilization than some more recent birth. America. so far as her physical history is concerned, has been falsely denominated the New World. Again, has been falsely denominated the New World. This is not the New World. This is the true old world. Hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. Hers, the first shore washed by the ocean that enveloped all the earth beside. And while Europe, listen to this, while Europe was represented only by islands rising here and there above the sea, I'm sorry about that, America already stretched in an unbroken line of land from Nova Scotia to the far west. Again, America, the old world. All right. So continuing in this book, right, it says here, the next chapter, America, the first inhabited of the continents. Okay. So it was the belief of the wise Thomas Jefferson that America was the first seat of the human race, and that the Eastern Hemisphere was peopled from the Western. A letter written by him to President Stiles of Yale College in 1786, while he represented the United States.
Yes, it was new to Europeans, right?
Was published in the American Museum for November 1787, page 492. Go verify the source. From this letter, the following extract is taken, clearly stating Mr. Jefferson's belief that the first inhabitants of Asia, who so much resembled the American Aborigines, went from America to Asia instead of coming from Asia to America. Again, it says here that Mr. Jefferson believed that the first inhabitants of Asia, who so much resemble the American Aborigines, and we ain't talking about the what you think of a Chinese person of today or any of the light-skinned Mongol-looking, Siberian-looking Asians, but we're talking about the original Negroid, right? Negritos, they call them, in the Philippines and the Malays. You know, all this is Asia too, and they do resemble the American Aborigines. And it says here that they actually went from America to Asia instead of coming from Asia to America. I return you my thanks for the communication relative to the Western countries. When we reflect how long we have inhabited those parts of America which lie between the Allegheny and the ocean, that no monument has ever been found in them which indicate the use of iron among its aboriginal inhabitants, that they were as far advanced in art, at least, as the inhabitants on the other side of the Allegheny, a good degree of infidelity may be excused as to the new discoveries which suppose regular fortifications of brickwork to have been in use among the Indians on the waters of the Ohio. Entrenchments of earth they might indeed make, but bricks is more difficult. The art of making it may have preceded the use of iron, but it would suppose a greater degree of industry than men in the
Dolios in New Orleans
usually
built all of the
possess.
bricks
I
that
should
built
like
the
to
French
know whether
Quarter.
General Parsons himself saw actual bricks among the remains of fortifications. I suppose the settlement of our continent is of the most remote antiquity. The similitude between its inhabitants and those of the eastern parts of Asia render it probable that ours are descended from them or they from ours. The latter is my opinion, that they are from ours.
That's
Founded
right.
on this single fact, among the red inhabitants of Asia, there are but few languages radically different. All right, so listen to this. But among our Indians, the number of languages is infinite.
Infinite.
We've gone over this in other presentations, right? There was more languages here in the Americas, more dialects than in Africa. They say Africa has, hundreds of languages. There's more languages than the Congo region in America. All right, you can go and research that. All right, so he's saying here that, in Asia, there are a few radically different languages, but among the Indians, the number of languages is infinite, which are so radically different as to exhibit at present no appearance of their having been derived from a common source. The time necessary for the generation of so many languages must be immense. All right, there's a long history of habitation here. Mr. Jefferson gave the best reason he could for his belief that the first inhabitants went from America to Asia instead of coming from Asia to America. Since his time, however, scientific research in its wonderful progress has developed other reasons for the truth of this theory. Scientists have exhumed in America the skeletons of past geological ages and the remains of dead human beings, which gave evidence of as early existence here as any yet found outside of America. Had Mr. Jefferson lived to this time, he might have been foremost among the scientists whose investigations looked to solving the problem of the oldest continent and the first human beings on the globe. All right, so they're saying that I guess after Jefferson died, there were some discoveries that show that there's actually been habitation here for thousands of years, even possibly millions, as we're about to read. Correlating with this, the new scientist also made some research on this. Basically, the same says here: the father of all men is 340,000 years old by Colin Barris. Albert Perry, that was the person's name, carried a secret in his DNA, a Y chromosome so distinctive that it reveals new information about the origin of our species. It shows that the last common male ancestor down the paternal line of our species is over twice as old as we thought.
Twice as old.
Twice as old, found in America. But he is the oldest, proven to be the oldest, carrying this Y chromosome, and he's in South Carolina. Continuing, it says, Perry, recently deceased, was an African American who lived in South Carolina. A few years ago, one of his female relatives submitted a sample of his DNA to a company called Family Tree DNA for
We're about to wrap up
genealogical
on
analysis.
these guys.
Genetics can use such samples to work out how we are related to one another. Hundreds of thousands of people have now had their DNA tested. The data from these tests have shown that all men gained their Y chromosome from a common male ancestor. This genetic atom lived between 60,000 and 140,000 years ago. All men except Perry, that is. So stop right there. You know, the time we thought all men descended from one common ancestor, right? 140,000 years ago, which they teach us was in Africa. But all men except Perry, right? That is, right? When family tree DNA technicians tried to place Perry on the Y chromosome family tree, they just couldn't. His Y chromosome was like no other so far analyzed.
All right.
Deeper roots, it said.
Like no other analyzed. All right. So, with that, yeah.
Back in effect.
All right. So, quite some information, right? Yes, they are from the bloodline of Shem. Yes, they are, Tamara. So what we're saying, and if I let it go a little bit further, it talks about there were some bones that were found here in the French Quarter, right by Congo Square, actually, and the bones were 15,000 years old, and was gonna go into our next clip, which is how can I pronounce that?
What?
Autotoxins.
Yeah. Autochthonous.
Autochthons. I learned a new word today as well, right? And have been seeing this word for a minute, autochthons, right? And really, I guess, it was always speaking about ancient people. And when you're reading about the Olmecs and the Mayans, and every once in a while they'll throw this word in, the autochthons, right? And you just like, okay, you're not quite sure. Well, I didn't want that guy. What are y'all doing? You're not sure what it is, right? So, autochthons means aboriginal. It's the root of where aboriginal came from.
Yeah.
My brother, can you read the definition?
No, Webster gave a definition, which is really interesting. from a lot of definitions that I've heard of autochthon.
Noah must have.
Yeah. It's and this is the 1828 dictionary definition, the first dictionary in the United States. Autochthon, which is Autochthon. Autochthon is one who rises or grows out of the earth. Whew.
Kind of sound like Adam, right? But wait. What happened to the monkey? What happened to Darwin and the monkey?
One who rises or grows out of the earth.
I thought you were talking about the I thought we came from monkeys, man. We evolved. How did we? So wait, you're saying we came out of the soil, became a monkey, and then became human?
None of that.
That's what they said, though. That's what Darwin. That's what they.
They lying, bro. Wouldn't be the first time they lied.
The camera's dipping on us.
It wouldn't be the first time they lied.
So when we look at, I want to make sure I got the right one before I let you guys see it. Jaguar, yeah. All right, cool. So I just want to set up this next video because it's gonna bring it home, right? So we just dealt with the fact that it showed in this book that America was the first place. So do we call that Mother Earth or do we call that Fatherland? Right? Because we say Africa is motherland, right? It's where it gave birth to the black man, right? The human, right? But we see that the first landmass is the Americas. Now, the guy Lewis Case, the guy that we had up here, from the book that we just showed, was a geology professor at Harvard. So he was not only, he wasn't just someone that was writing a book that did some studies on people or did some studies about the evolution of man. No, his study and direct master and expertise was in land, studying of when the land masses came. So this book showed that America was the first landmass. Then we look at scripture and we say corn, and it says that corn is indigenous to Americas. And it says that in Isaiah that the Most High is going to return his people to the land of corn.
Return. Wouldn't you have to be from somewhere to return there?
Also in this book, it talked about Thomas Jefferson making the understanding of these are the first people that got here, right? Thomas Jefferson, one of our earliest presidents, right?
And he's also the one that recognized the Hebrew Israelites.
He was exactly the same one from Israel Hill, right? So in a plaque, his cousin, Thomas Jefferson's cousin.
Yes,
Randolphs.
The Randolphs.
Was it his cousin or his brother-in-law?
No, it was his cousin.
It was his cousin. All right, Thomas Jefferson's cousin actually stated that the slaves that he had were Israelites, and that he released them. His wife released them upon his will of his death. So same Thomas Jefferson now pops up again in this book, saying that he had done research and was an advocate, I guess you can say scholar, in finding out who these indigenous people were, these autochtons that were here, and believed that we were the original and not Asia, which is the opposite, because everyone says that Asia and then Africans came here, because that supports everything starting on the Eastern Hemisphere. When we realize that every part of our education puts us into a cattle pride that sends us into this thought and this knowledge that we have that everybody came here. But when you look at Atlantis and you look at the books, it tells you everything started here. And then after Atlantis, everything went to the hemisphere. into the Eastern Hemisphere with Thoth. Now, if that's what's written in the emerald tablets, wait, you mean not just scripture, not just the Tanakh, not just the Dead Sea Scrolls? You're saying that emerald tablets are people that don't believe in what we believe in. They are the fallen angels. They wrote that they came from the Western Hemisphere. Our historians, Harvard professors, says that genealogy from the study of all masses, and they came from the Eastern Hemisphere, said that the Western Hemisphere was in fact the oldest ridge and the oldest landmass to rise. So we just stacking the information here and asking,